What if I told you that the most powerful thing you could do is stop trying? Because there's a type of person who doesn't perform for approval, doesn't explain themselves to strangers, and somehow becomes impossible to ignore. And Jennie Kim? She's mastered it. Today, we're breaking down the psychology behind that power, the mindset that changed everything. And I'm not going to lie, this video is longer than my usual ones because honestly, there's so much here. The way she handles pressure, the way she protects her peace, the way she built an empire on her own terms. It's all connected. So stick with me on this one. If you don't know who Jennie is, she's a member of Blackpink, a soloist with her own label. She's the first Korean female solo artist to go platinum in the US and Chanel's global ambassador. But here's the thing, none of that happened by accident. It all started with how she built her mindset from day one. The difference between wanting something and becoming someone who deserves it is everything. And Jennie understood this early. While most people focus on the outcome, the fame, the stage, the success, she focused on the identity. During her 6 years as a trainee, she wasn't just practicing choreography and vocals. She was building a version of herself that could handle the weight of what was coming. That's the real work. It's not glamorous. It's repetitive, it's unglamorous, and no one's cheering for you. But that's exactly where your foundation gets built. In the silence, in the grind, when the only person who believes in you is you. And then there's the way she handles criticism. Let's be real, Jennie's faced her share of it. Dating scandals, lazy dancing accusations, being called too privileged. The internet has had its opinions. But here's what's fascinating. She doesn't shrink. She doesn't over-explain. She doesn't perform apologies for existing. She lets the noise exist in its own space while she keeps moving forward. That's not coldness, that's boundaries. She knows that not every opinion deserves her energy, and more importantly, she knows that her worth isn't up for debate. But before diving into that, I would like to say, this isn't about copying someone else's vibe or trying to become Jennie. It's about understanding the principles behind how she moves through the world and applying them to your own life. Because confidence isn't one size fits all. It's deeply personal. Think about the Melbourne concert in 2023. Jennie walked off stage mid-performance because her body physically couldn't continue. Medical staff had to step in. And the internet? They called her unprofessional. But here's what people don't talk about. She'd been dealing with this her entire career. The lazy dancer accusations when she modified choreography because of ankle injuries. The dating scandal that had people sending funeral wreaths to her company. Getting backlash for doing an acting role in The Idol. People calling it her downfall just for taking a risk. Being called arrogant for having boundaries. Too privileged for existing. And every single time she could have crumbled. She could have over-explained, begged for approval, changed who she was to please everyone. But she didn't. She just kept choosing herself. Because she understood something most people learn too late, you can't pour from an empty cup. Real strength isn't about enduring until you collapse. It's knowing when to stop before you break. That's not weakness. That's self-respect. Here's what makes Jennie different from almost everyone else in her industry. She's mastered the art of detachment, not in a cold way, but in a way that protects her peace. Watch any interview, any behind-the-scenes clip, and you'll notice she's never trying to convince you of anything. She's not performing relatability. She's not manufacturing moments for virality. She just is. And that level of self-possession is rare because most of us are so busy managing how we're perceived that we forget to actually live. There's also something to be said about how she balances softness with strength. Jennie isn't one-dimensional. She can be fierce on stage, then post pictures of her cuddling her dogs. She can rock a Chanel campaign, then be goofy with her members. She doesn't feel the need to maintain a single persona because she's comfortable with all her facets. And that's where real magnetism comes from. Not from being untouchable, but from being real. From allowing yourself to be multidimensional without apologizing for it. Look at what she did with her album Ruby. After Blackpink's tour ended, Jennie started her own label Odd Atelier. She could have stayed comfortable, taken the safer route. Instead, she chose autonomy. Built her own team in LA, handled her own creative direction, and named the album Ruby, her actual middle name. Not a stage persona. Just Ruby Jane. The album cover literally shows her pulling back a theater curtain, opening a new chapter. And the result? Debuted at number 3 globally, went triple platinum in Korea, Mantra hit number 3 on the Billboard Global 200. Because when you create from truth instead of fear, people feel it. Even in the way she dresses, you can see this philosophy. Jennie doesn't follow trends for the sake of it. She sets them. She wears what makes her feel powerful. Whether it's oversized streetwear or high fashion, there's always this sense that she chose it because it resonated with her, not because it was expected. That's autonomy. That's self-trust. And people feel that. They're drawn to it because it's rare to see someone who's genuinely comfortable in their own skin. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The Jennie mindset isn't about being fearless. It's about doing it anyway. It's about trusting that even if you stumble, even if people judge, even if it doesn't go perfectly, you'll figure it out. Because you always have. It's that quiet resilience, that inner knowing that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. So here's the thing. You don't need permission to take up space. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. Start showing up for yourself the way Jennie shows up for herself, with boundaries, with trust, with that quiet confidence that says, I belong here. And if you want to learn how to be comfortable being alone and actually enjoy your own company, I made a video on that. Click it. I'll see you there.